Join us as we dive into the history, hauntings, and high strangeness of the world to try to better understand the paranormal. I will be your guide. I am paranormal researcher and investigator Eric Freeman-Sims. Welcome to the Unseen Paranormal Podcast. Hey everybody, welcome to the Season 4 premiere of the Unseen Paranormal. As usual, I am your host, Eric Freeman-Sims. This is episode 140. We're starting Season 4 out strong. We got a little different episode for you this week. A couple of housekeeping things real quick before we jump in. We have a bonus Halloween episode out as well, and this episode is coming out on Halloween. And go check that out. That's an interesting conversation I had with Mr. David Race from the Monstrosity podcast. Fun conversation with him. He's a great guy, funny guy, and just a funny conversation. Also, if you have not yet, go check out our new podcast called Strange Chapters. 3 different stories from a paranormal author's true stories book, nonfiction, and it covers everything from the paranormal to the, true crime, missing persons, time slips, all different kind of weird stuff, aliens, and I'm having a lot of fun narrating it, and hopefully y'all are enjoying it. Episode 6 is out today as well on Halloween, so go check out any of those episodes that you missed. It's available on YouTube as well as all the podcast platforms wherever you listen to this show at. So the gentleman we have today, his name is Jim Sandoval, and he contacted me on social media about a month ago and asked if I would like to have his story on my show. So I talked to him on the phone and did a little pre-interview, and his story sounds interesting. So this is an Unseen Paranormal Podcast exclusive. He's never been on any other podcast so far, and so we're getting the story first. And so really interesting, crazy story. He has evidence and pictures to back it up, which will accompany this episode on the social medias. So if you're listening and you haven't jumped on the Unseen Paranormal Podcast Lounge or the Unseen Paranormal Facebook page or other social media, jump on there and take a look at the pictures so you know what he's talking about when we're talking about the pictures. And also the YouTube video, the pictures will accompany the YouTube video as well. And I'll have that up in a few days. But enjoy this episode and enjoy this crazy story called The Dark Mark. Hey, everybody. Today we are talking to Jim Sandoval. And welcome to the show, Jim. Thanks for contacting me and wanting to tell your story here on the show.
Hey there. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. We kind of did a pre-interview a couple weeks ago, and you had messaged me on social media about coming on the show and telling this incredible story, and you only kind of gave me the synopsis. So for the audience, he just gave me the Cliff Notes version, so I haven't even heard the whole story myself, and I was like, yes, I want you on the show. So the gist of it to get started is that you started dating this girl, right?
Yeah, I started dating this girl. I met her on social media. It was just like a social media website. And I messaged her. We set up a date to go meet at a Guar concert, and that's pretty much where it all started from there.
So after, how long were you dating before the craziness started?
Well, we met, I always want to say around October, right around this time, actually, which is kind of funny. I can't remember, this was down in South Texas. I can't remember exactly what Guar concert was, but it was at the Concrete Street Amphitheater, I believe. And, and all the craziness happened, I would say, around, it wasn't on Mardi Gras, but it was around Lent season, around Mardi Gras time. I want to say it was in February, some point. And so it's been, like I said, it's around 2009, 2010 roughly. So it's been quite a few years.
Yeah, and so this story is kind of, we'll get into it later, but this happening to you kind of has changed your life in a completely different direction now, and we'll talk about that a little later. But so you had some weird, if I remember correctly, you had some weird things that were going on, and you didn't really think much of it with this girl that you were dating. And then it kind of kicked up to the 10th degree.
It was around spring season because she was watering flowers. She just planted flowers. So I think it was after the incident. So she sprayed me with the water hose when she was watering the flowers. We're in the back of the house. And so you had the back side of the house, and you had the long side of the house, right? It was on, we'll just say, on one of the sides of the house. There was a bunch of leaves around the house. So when she sprayed me with the water hose and then ran around the corner, and you could hear all the leaves crunching when she was running. And as soon as she turned the corner, I didn't hear anything, and I started running after her. And as soon as I turned the corner, this is the long side of the house, she was gone. And so I ran all the way to the front of the house, And the thing is about this house that I was in, there was a door and a screen door, and the porch was kind of warped from, I guess, the weather. So it was, you had to like lift up the screen door to open it, and then you had to open the door, and then you had to, pull back the screen door or whatever, and then shut the other door. So it was, so by the time I got there, both doors were shut. I was all huffing and puffing. I ran inside the house, and she was the back end of the house in the kitchen drying a wine glass, and said, "What took you so long?"
Oh, wow.
That was one instance. The other instance was after, was basically how we broke up, but we'll get into that. That's something I want to save for the end.
Okay.
So that's more of a, like, that's the ending of the whole relationship. It was kind of a interesting breakup. So we were dating for a while. She started showing me some spiritual stuff. She was, she said she was a witch or whatever, and she had this black magic box. She said it was a black magic box, and I just I don't know what it was in there. It didn't feel like anything was in there, to be honest. In any case, she had that. She got me into like the candle, using candles and prayers and stuff like that. And what was really interesting, so I had some people try to rob my house around that time. And actually, my car was parked at my dad's house for some reason. I can't remember why. But we were sitting there she was showing me do the candle stuff. And then someone was trying to break in the house. They were like tapping on the windows and stuff. It was the craziest thing. And then called 911. They ran away. And then that was that for that instance. But so there was a couple of things that were happening kind of weird. So then she was living with me. We went to, she saved up a bunch of money for a trip to New Orleans. She wanted to take me to an all expense paid trip to New Orleans. And I was like, all right, cool. Cause I was letting her, stay with me and whatever.
Yeah.
So we go to from Texas, we drive to New Orleans, and it was off of Bourbon Street. This is after Katrina. So what year was that? Do you remember? When everything was being like fixed up during New Orleans, because that would be the good that would be able to tell what the timeline is.
Yeah, I want to say it was around 2010.
2010. So that's when we were there then. Okay, so that makes sense. Oh, perfect. So yeah, so we were there. There was fresh paint, everything, fresh wallpaper in the hotel. We go in there, we're having a great time, drinking every night. Well, on the third night we were there, I blacked out. I'll leave it there. I don't want to, unless you want me to go in detail with that.
It's up to you. No big deal.
I'll just leave it at that. Some stuff was happening. She got on top of me and I blacked out, is what I'll say. And so the next morning I woke up fine. As soon as I got in her car, got like deathly ill and was just sick all the way on the trip back to Texas. And then 3 days later, this big black mark was on my back and my left shoulder blade. And the reason I woke up one day and all of a sudden just felt something was crawling under my skin, like this weird, like vibrating, burning feeling. And I go and look in the mirror and this thing's on my back. And I sent you some pictures the other time, and
I'll post those along with the episode, yeah, so people can see. Yeah, the big mark. It's really intriguing and interesting.
Yeah, so if you see those pictures there, you see a big black hand mark, or it's a handprint from what it looks like to me. And I've been to 10 doctors, 2 dermatologists, or several doctors. Not just 10, it's been more since then. 2 dermatologists, had 2 biopsies, blood work, MRI, all came out negative. So with all that happening, I didn't really know what else to do. So kind of like just lived with it for a while. I was just doing some little bit light research here. And then I forgot something happened, and it just got me to just really start researching. I was like, I got to get rid of this mark. I just got to get rid of it. So I started doing a bunch of research. I went to a bunch of demonology groups and doing a bunch of, studying on demons and all that kind of stuff and curses and whatever. And I came across this one guy, a private messaged me. He's all, "Excuse me, sir." He's all, I just thought, because I posted my story online, and this man reached out to me.
Yeah.
And he was from Sri Lanka. And he said, "Sir, I don't really believe your story because, the people in my tradition, in my religion, the people that usually have this mark are found dead. And it's unbelievable that it's why I don't believe it, because you're alive and if you have this mark, it's not found on people that are walking." And And
Yeah.
I said, well, I am, and I have it, and I have no explanation. And so he sent me some information about it. It's called the Mahasona, and I sent you I guess a screenshot of what it is. You can also look it up on Wikipedia. But yeah, it's very interesting. It says that he normally kills people by striking them on the shoulder blade and leaving a mark, and the victims are usually found dead with the mark. It said, embroidered on the flesh.
Wow.
And as I started to learn that, I started doing some cleanses with different herbs like hyssop, and I would make spiritual baths and doing different kinds of cleansings, the egg cleanse and stuff like that. And the marks started to actually. That's when it started to getting lighter. And I sent you the pictures of the progression of that.
Yeah.
And it's still there. It's actually still getting lighter. My massage therapist who saw it last basically said, yeah, it's getting a lot lighter now. I'm like, it's good to hear.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I must be doing something right. I'm still doing all this stuff. It's been a very interesting journey to say the least.
So how long did that relationship last after that happened when you found the mark?
From October, so we started in October, 2009 October, and then we ended, I want to say, in July sometime. Was it July? It was after my birthday, I believe. It was after my birthday sometime, so it was definitely either late June or early July.
Was it just like a natural breakup just because of life things, or did it have to do with the paranormal supernatural aspects of stuff?
It it had to do with the paranormal supernatural aspect. It's all right. So this is the unbelievable part. So you see all that, because this is a part where I don't have any actual evidence for.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate. Which is usually that kind of stuff you can't capture anyway. From what I'm to understand. So anyway, a bunch of weird stuff was happening. You can feel the dark oppressive force. When you have demonic presence, it was like real heavy all the time. Anxiety, and it's just stuff that it's like there's no reason for it, but you have it, and just a bunch of other things as well that were just symptoms of demonic oppression. And I basically was going to do because I went to a priest actually for help. I told him the whole situation. I showed him all the evidence, and he said, "You need to see a therapist." So funny enough, I did actually eventually, not then, but later, I saw a therapist for a different reason, not related at all. And I told the therapist about this whole, you have a conversation. It came up, and she said, "You need to go see a priest." So at that point, and actually since then, I've actually tried to reach out to priests, and they blow me off. They won't even hear me. They don't even they won't even listen to my story at all. I've tried to set up appointments with them, and it's just they're either too busy or they just it's been really bizarre with that. So I was like, since I was getting the runaround, I figured I got to figure something out, and if no one's gonna help me, I got to help myself. So I started learning different cleanses. I started doing the cleanses and started to get rid of it, and I was like, all right, I need to. Well, actually, that was years later, but while we were the breakup. Sorry, I got off track here. So during the breakup, so this is what happened. I did an exorcism on her. Sorry, I got off sidetracked. But yeah, so basically I did an exorcism on her. She was at work, and I got the whole thing. I got the whole herbs and incenses and candles, and you can do them long distance too. The only thing is you can't watch over them and see what they're doing as a problem. So I don't know exactly what was happening on the other side while I was doing it. But when I first started the rites and started saying the prayers, I get a text message from her saying, "I don't feel good."
Oh wow!
And that's the only message I got from her all night, all day. It wasn't night. She got off work early because she was working at a bank. She normally got off around 5, and it was like a 40-minute commute back and forth from the area. So she got there about around 3 p.m. And I was in the house. The house, the candles weren't burnt down yet. They were halfway. She would, I was planning for her not to come back to work afterwards, so everything would have been completely done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and cleaned up. Yeah.
Cleaned it up and everything. When she came in the middle of it, her hair was all crazy, eyes bloodshot, and she's all, "What are you doing?" And there's incense smoke all in the house. So I brought every herb you can think of that was associated with exorcism, and just was burning it in the house. And so what are you doing here? And she was standing. Where I had all the altar and stuff was on the right side of me. She was on the left side, and I was in not in the doorway, but like by the doorway to enter the room, and there was a light on my right shoulder by the door. And so it was the middle of the day, by the way, and so she says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Praying to God." And then when I said that, that's when things got crazy. The light started to dim. The light on the candle started to dim, and then the smoke started to go around her, and then there was a physical manifestation. And did I send you a picture of that?
I don't think I got that picture, no.
You didn't get that picture? Let me go ahead and send you that. Okay, so yeah, I wanted to save this because this is while I was telling you the story here. So this is the thing that manifested, and it was really interesting because it looked like a hologram. It was like kind of see-through but solid at the same time, and then when it moved, it moved like a claymation figure.
Yeah, kind of like stop motion animation where they take one picture and change it. Yeah.
Yes, that's what it looked like. And it looked like a humanoid dragon, reptilian type, black tar-like skin, yellow eyes. I was actually surprised. The classic. When you see lizards or whatever, you see these slits up and down. Well, this one had more of a circular black with the yellow on the on the rest of the eye, and then it had kind of a not a really long snout, but it had a snout I would say like a dog kind of, but how long it was. Black tar skin, bat wings, the whole it was like stereotypical. One thing it was missing was the horns. I was actually shocked that it didn't have horns. To be honest.
Yeah, well, I mean, fuck it, scary enough without horns. I mean, shit, yeah. I would have shit my pants.
The funny thing was after you do the rites and you do the when you call upon the saints and you call upon all the powers,
yeah,
you feel it's hard to explain. I felt like invincible in a way, and actually when it presented itself, I got really angry. I was not happy.
Yeah.
And we had a small 1 minute conversation. It was under a minute, and I pissed it off because it was trying to tell me that because I said when there was a God, and he said which one, and I said there's only one, and then I said, and I called him, I said Satan, because I thought I said Satan, and it laughed at me, and he said I have other plans, and then he started to proceed to tell me that there was a God and a creator, and I said that doesn't make any logical sense. I said if there was a creator, it created the God, and that would be the true God. And then it got really angry, and her and him, I guess you would say, they rushed at me because it just came at me and basically wrapped its hands around my neck, and as soon as it hit me, it disappeared, and it was her hands around my neck. And I said, "Get your shit and get out of my house." Right. And then it was weird because as soon as I said that, she snapped out of it and was like, "Okay, all calm," and just started packing all her stuff.
Wow.
So that's how the breakup happened.
Yeah. I don't blame you. Yeah, you and your passenger got to go.
Yeah, especially I figured out why, because I think it should have worked, but I realized that I believe that she had a pact with it, and you can't really, even if you have the authority to remove it, if they have a pact with it, it stays.
Yeah, she has to want it gone as well.
She has to want it gone, which was weird because it felt like a part of her was trying to tell me to do the exorcism.
Yeah.
She kind of knew what I was I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's I got the message. It was it was weird. It was like a call for help in a way, and she was showing me. It was either showing me things to help her, or the thing was showing me to try to show me to do curses and all that kind of stuff. It was one or the other.
Yeah.
It was really interesting, to say the least. But yeah, that's what happened. And after years, I didn't know exactly what demon it was, and I found the Mahasona is one of the names it goes by. It's, I guess, the same as similarly to Anubis and I guess Baal or Beelzebub. Belize bull, Belize boa. There's a bunch of different names for it, I guess. Belize
Yeah.
bub, I was told that is a derogatory term for it. And Belize zul and Belize boa are like also different terms, I believe, that were used. I think like the Gnostic god Yalda boa, there's Belize boa, I think type of think is what I'm thinking.
So
But,
so the mark on your back, you said it, you know, it resembled a handprint. You can see that in the pictures. So do you think it was that handprint of this demonic thing, this evil thing?
yeah, I mean, it to be honest, it looks like something that would. It looks like it came from, like, I mean, if you see it looks like a dragon handprint,
Yeah.
and it just looks like it came from that figure. And it was about, when I saw the size of it, I would say it stood about 8 or 9 feet above. But I don't know if that's the exact height that it had, or because I know the astral plane is like a foot or so difference, isn't there?
Yeah, and also I think it could probably present bigger than maybe what it really is, you know, coming from that realm.
True, true. But I think when you anger it, they don't have time to like make a disguise, so it just
Yeah.
came out in raw form, in its natural form. And I didn't really realize it, but as I was doing more studies, it's always said, the Bible says the serpent, but there's passages in there they call it the black adder and like the black dragon. And I was like, whoa, that kind of like brought it to perspective, and I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. And as big as the mark is, it would kind of fit that 7-8 foot size, I would say, as well, as big as the mark is on your back.
I wish I would have measured it. I still have pieces of it there, but I almost wish that it was measured while it was still like whole. I didn't even think about it then.
And earlier we were talking about having records, and you have all the medical records from where you've had this thing tested, and they can't figure out what it is. And I can tell the audience too, from looking at the pictures. I worked in dermatology when I worked in medicine, and you can see where you've had the punch biopsies of it, where the little scar marks are.
Oh yeah, you can clearly see where the biopsies were.
Yeah.
On that thing. And also, if you read the description of the Mahasona, it drinks the blood of a buffalo, and it looks like it's forming a buffalo there as it's starting to clear up.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit, because you sent me a series of pictures, and like I said, I'll post all these online, and then the YouTube version will have them on the video. But so you sent me a whole series of pictures. As it's getting lighter, it's also changing shape, and that's what he's talking about with the buffalo to the audience. And so that's what we're going to talk about here is how this mark on his back is lightening up, but it's also changing shape.
Yep, it's changing shape, and it was static for a while. It's weird. It goes through like static periods where there's nothing that happens, and then all of a sudden it'll start being active. Like there's also a picture I sent you that it starts to form like a triangle, and it almost looks like the Eye of Providence.
Yeah, the all-seeing eye. Yeah.
And that was taken by my massage therapist. She's the one that actually noticed it. Yeah, I don't really pay attention to it anymore at this point. I'm used to it now. And she sees it all the time, and she's all, hey, something's happening here. And I'm like, what do you mean? And then she told me and took a picture. And then that happened. And then this was which was interesting, this was, while it was changing, this was happening during my, like, a breakup with my ex-fiance, which is kind of interesting. And so yeah, there's that. And then it started to create a hexagram, as you can see in one of the pictures I sent you there as well.
Yeah, and it's amazing how doing the different cleansings from different religions and beliefs have actually, you know, with the medical field saying we don't know what the fuck this is, we don't know how to get rid of it, but with you doing the different cleansings over the years and the different things like that it's lightened up. That's pretty crazy.
Because they gave me fungal creams, steroid creams. They gave me all kinds of different stuff to try to get rid of it, and it's just, nothing touched it. It was untouched for years, even with the medication. And like I said, it was weird because then it turned red. Like you can see the very first picture where it started to change. It just started to turn red and then started to change. It's wild.
Yeah. And that wasn't. And after you broke up with her and kind of kicked her out of your house, that it hasn't really ended.
No, it has not ended. You're right. I didn't. I told you about the 18-wheeler accident, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yep. So it was. So I got into an 18-wheeler accident about 5 years ago. What was interesting was I just had a feeling, because when I dated, So let me backtrack a second. So I was dating my ex-fiance at the time before we were engaged. I did the spiritual bath, and she saw the results. Because she saw, wow, that's working on your back. Because she knew I was going to doctor's for it, and she knew the whole thing.
Yeah.
And she saw her, so I want to do a spiritual bath. I'm like, all right. So I made one for her. We did all the prayers and whatever. And she's all, I feel really good. I'm like, I know, right? And she's all, but I'm really tired. I'm going to go to sleep. And I said, okay. So she goes to sleep. I'm playing Xbox in the living room. And all of a sudden, I just hear this, like, smacking around and just something's like hitting something in the living room. Like, I was like in the den. And I heard some commotion in the living room. And I go in there, and there's this bat just circling around in circles in the living room. So I'm freaking out. I wake up my ex. She's like, oh my God. And then I just I couldn't, my landlord was my roommate at the time. He was out of the house. And I knew he had tennis rackets upstairs. I couldn't get a hold of it. So I just ran upstairs anyway and got it. And so I was sad. I didn't want to kill it, but I ended up killing it with a tennis racket.
Yeah. I mean, but that's an odd thing to have in your house. I mean, you didn't have any doors or windows or anything open?
Nope. There was no, I don't know. And the thing that was also scary is like when you hear about, bats that go off from the rest of the other ones, it's like sick usually. You know what I mean? There's something usually wrong with them.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it got into a crack or it just kind of worked its way into the house. It was really it was just weird because it was like an hour after the spiritual bath and it just manifested there. It was too coincidental, I would say.
Yeah, definitely weird synchronicity. Yeah.
Super weird coincidence, And so that happened, and she's like, I don't want you to do this shit ever again, and you need to stop all this. I said, okay. So I completely got out of it. I had a bunch of these oils and stuff that when I was with the one who put the mark on me, they got really into it. I was studying a bunch, and I got rid of it. I sold all my old. It was like at least $300-400 of different stuff that I had, all for like $50. Got rid of it. She was all happy about it, and then everything was just kind of like normal. Whatever, and then after the 18-wheeler accident happened, everything just started to fall apart after that. It was just like bad luck. And I don't know what was happening, but she told me not to do that stuff, but I just had a feeling that I needed to burn 2 candles. So I burned 2 white pillar candles, said a couple of prayers, and she was actually in the car with me when we got into the 18-wheeler accident. And like we hit it, like it hit us, it spun us around, and we hit nose to nose, and we flew off the other side of the railing of the road. It was pretty insane. Like, and we were injured, but not like no broken bones, no fractures, nothing like that. But so it was pretty. I got pretty luck, bad luck, but luck, good luck at the same time.
Yeah, somebody was there to watch out for you, so you didn't, get killed or hurt worse.
Yep. But yeah, so there was that instance. So like it's weird because when I first got into this, I never met anybody who was into any of the occult or paranormal or anything. And now it's like I feel like I'm all of a sudden I'm a magnet. Like I've been meeting witches all over the place. Wizards been attacking me because of girls. Like a bunch of weird things. Have been happening. Never happened before. Yeah, it's just been. I don't know what it is, but you just become a magnet for it.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that investigators say that once you start looking into the paranormal, it starts looking into you.
You're telling me. I got my hands on a book of shadows from I guess a Magus. His name was Scorpius Magus or something like that. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. But from 1959, I showed you a couple of pictures from that book.
Yeah.
I got a stone with a demon in it, or it looks like it, and also when you feel it, it feels not so good when you hold it. Because normally crystals give you a nice little good feeling when you hold it. This one, very heavy, burns, not very good.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've never seen anything like that in a crystal, but yeah, it definitely looks like something evil, an evil figure in there from about the waist up. You can see the head and the torso and stuff.
It almost looks like a Renaissance painting.
Yeah. Of like the old Renaissance paintings with like the devil and the flames coming out and fire and brimstone.
Yep.
So I didn't know if you wanted to talk about this or not, but you started doing kind of the exorcism rites while I think it was your fiance was sleeping.
Oh no, this was a different girl. This one's a more recent one. Okay, so we'll lightly touch on this one.
Okay.
So I don't want to go too much detail. This is I'm still around some of these people.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I was doing an exorcism myself. I was going to do it for 9 days because this one was a very difficult one. It's Lilith, very difficult. 3 day. I was going to do it for 9 days, and it's 2 hours per session. And you're normally supposed to have one person with you to help you, but it's just me. So 2 hours solid. I was only able to do it for 3 days, and then I was just getting attacked like crazy. Things were just feeling weird. And then I go see her one day, and she's blackout drunk. And then she just starts to choke me and says, "You need to stop doing these exorcisms." She's like, "You don't understand. I am the demon. So I've mastered the art of seduction and this, that, and the other, and I'm a 10,000-year-old century witch." All this crazy stuff. And then she walks away, and like a couple of people here are just like rambling that she's like this ancient witch or whatever, and they just laugh it off. They just laugh, and I'm over here just like my jaws drop. I'm like, that just happened,
Right.
and no one's gonna believe me. It's like I could tell people, but they're gonna just like laugh it off. And then you see, I sent you. I don't want you to post these at all, but did I send you pictures of that or no?
No.
No, okay. Yeah, no, I'm not gonna send pictures of that. But in one of the pictures, the girl, I was just scrolling through pictures of Lilith because I want, I want to know exactly what I'm dealing with, the different variations, the different forms or whatever.
Right.
Because there's some depictions of her with red hair. I think that's the original from when she was originally created with Adam, and a bunch of more recent depictions. She's got black hair, and it was just really weird. I saw an anime picture. It looked just like the girl that I was talking to, and then there was this woman, another picture of a woman with black hair with pointy ears and had her hand on top of her head, and I'm like, I'll be damned. This is crazy. And it's just like things that I would notice, but no one else really is really paying attention to.
Yeah.
And then there's actually one girl who was actually, we no longer talk now because a bunch of stuff happened. I don't even want to talk about that. But we had disagreement on something, but she was there and she saw everything that was happening. So it's kind of weird. I do have a witness, but I'm just not like talking to her right now.
Yeah.
So funny how that works.
So how did you get to want to start doing the exorcism rites on her while she was sleeping? Like, what led up to that?
Well, it was actually not while she was sleeping. It was just while in general. Like, I don't know if she was asleep or not, to be honest. She needed it. Like things were just bad, and they kicked into kind of high gear. Like I don't know, things are really weird right now. I've isolated myself, so I'm not being touched by anything right now. But yeah, it was really really interesting to say the least. But yeah, I'm no longer talking to her either. Yeah.
So the one that put the mark on you originally, do you know whatever happened to her?
No, I not really. I don't know what happened to her, but I was gonna do a completely sever this ritual where you it's basically severing all ties and all energy connections. And I needed her birthday, and she told me her birthday, but just something felt like she lied to me, and she did lie to me. So I found out what her birthday was, but it also gave all this other information, which is really weird. So remember I told you I got into my 18-wheeler accident?
Yeah.
So I would say 2 weeks before the accident, her husband got shot.
Oh, wow.
And then 3 days later, that's when I did the candles. I think I sent you some screenshots of some of that, of the dates and times and all that. You don't put that stuff up, but
yeah, no.
I just showed you just you would know, so you know that I'm not messing around.
Yeah, that's the coincidences sometimes are like you said, it's too much to be a coincidence. It becomes a synchronicity, and how all these things line up and into this incredible story and the things that have happened to you. And so you've kind of continued with the helping other people, have you not? Like with the exorcism and like the blessings and things like that.
There's different types of cleanses, yes. Exorcisms, those are only like, you don't just do that to everybody. That's right. Something you need to have. They need to show like like real like demonic possession signs,
Yeah.
like weird manifestations, like even like like you've seen Exorcist.
Yeah.
A manifestation doesn't necessarily mean like a physical manifestation where it appears. You know what I mean? That's actually very rare. Normally, when someone's possessed, they get their faces turn demonic, like, and they get all scrunched up and they get angry. They don't look normal, and then they say things in a weird, mean voice that doesn't normally sound. It doesn't sound natural, or to them, or doesn't sound normal to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And like I said, when she was choked, when that girl choked me, it was that voice was not her.
Yeah, and it's kind of a voice that there's no way that she could have made her voice sound like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And her eyes were just gray, and she has normally blue eyes, and they were just like gray.
Yeah.
It was wild. And some of them, their eyes will just turn all black. Their pupils will just completely dilate. But I've only had 2 experiences like that. With that, and then the actual when I angered it. And according to like Gnostic texts, that's what I research on. You either had to do blood ritual sacrifice for these to manifest, which the Aztecs used to do. They would do like bloodlettings and stuff like that, and their deities would pop up. Or you anger them really bad, and then they'll physically manifest in different ways, depending on how much. I guess depending on what hierarchy they are, how much energy they're able to draw from other sources and stuff like that, I assume.
Yeah. And you've gotten into, and I can't remember what it's called, but you sent me some pictures the other day of with the eggs, cracking eggs and reading the yolks.
Yes.
And
it's called, there's different, some people call it the Venus glass, umancy or omancy is another form of it. Limpia con huevo is what the Latin and Hispanics call it. The egg cleanse is what we call it, English speaking. But it's the egg cleanse, and there's different forms from different cultures that use different methods of the eggs. Babylonians used to write scripture on a clay bowl and draw a picture of a demon or what they believed it looked like in the center, and then they would put the egg at the doorsteps of their homes, and it would draw the demon to the egg and trap it with the words of the scripture on it, and then it would encase it, and they would dispose of the egg after a couple of days or when they feel like it was gone. Or I'm sure they had other methods to detect to see if it was by other divination techniques to determine if it was gone or not, or isolated. This form, you rub it over your body, say your prayers, and then you drop in holy water in a glass, or using a type of holy water. Some people use moon water, some people pray over it, and then you crack the egg in there, and then it'll what it basically does, it absorbs the negative energy, and then it starts putting it into like different pictures, and it'll show certain different, the way the egg moves or has a certain formation. Those mean specific types of things that may be going on in the individual's life. It could be health problems, like if there's a red spot that could indicate that there's possible health problems. If there's like black spots, that usually indicates, in science it says that the egg's been fertilized, with the blood spot, but in spiritual meaning, it means that that person has a potential health problem that either is not being addressed, or it's not being addressed, or hasn't been discovered yet.
Yeah.
And then you see the black spots, and those usually mean that someone's doing like witchcraft on you. They they wrote your name down on a petition or on a candle, and they directly put it on you with intention. And other indications would be like, so you would see like pictures of snakes, serpents, and dragons. Those are good indications of magic's being done on you. I sent you a few pictures. I'm not sure. I don't know if you want to put them up or not. You can put the picture up, but not necessarily the conversation.
Yeah.
I sent you one with the conversation. But we can just say what it is. So one of them was a picture. It looks like, well, you saw it. I asked you what it looked like, and you saw it right away. It's like most people just say, "I see bubbles," and you immediately saw it.
Yeah, the one that looks like a sonogram picture, yep. Like when a woman gets an ultrasound of the baby. Yeah.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, it looks like the baby's face, and it definitely looks like a sonogram picture. It's really interesting.
And there's a second one there as well that showed the that they were like twins.
Yeah, it looks like two faces from a sonogram. Yeah.
I don't really want to say what the meanings of those eggs are, because I'm not sure if it's to be proper, but
Right.
it's not very good. It's very sad actually. So I'll just leave it at that.
But yeah, these pictures are pretty amazing, and like you said, just for the privacy of the person that you were giving the reading for, we won't say what the story behind them is, but
Yep. And this is all on public social media, but
yeah,
even though it's out on public like that, it's something that's a touchy subject for people. So
yeah, and it's their story to tell, not necessarily mine and yours,
exactly.
Yeah, and so yeah, if people want to seek it out, they can and find out what the story is, but on the pictures. But yeah, you can see the images in there, and I will just tell you from knowing the story, it's dead on with exactly what was going on with the person, with those two separate people, and it's pretty fascinating. I'd never really done any research into it. I've heard of it, just in passing, but never really seen it or talked to anybody who actually does it.
Oh, the egg reading, yeah.
Yeah,
It's actually really hard to find any good information on it. It's usually like you have to find like Hispanic medicine men or women from Puerto Rico or Mexico or Hispanics that really are. That's usually this stuff is passed down from family to family, and each family usually has like one healer in the group to help everybody get cleansed and all that.
Yeah.
And it's like what people don't realize is you got to cleanse your body. You wash your body. If you don't, you stink, and bad things start happening to your body when you don't clean yourself. And the same with your spirit. If you don't cleanse that, it attracts attracts alike. If you got a bunch of bad vibrations, you're gonna start attracting those like things.
Yeah.
Into your life. So
yeah, and you come from Hispanic heritage.
I do, yes. And that's how my grandfather was the healer. He's the one that taught me the basics of everything. And that's why I was like I was looking for like ideas of what I could do. And I'm like, my grandpa used to do this when I was sick, when I was young. I'm like, let me try this. Let me get more into it. And as I got more into it, my mom actually started telling me some other things that was passed down to her from him that I didn't hear. And I got some more information and tools that way as well. So there's probably a wealth of knowledge that I didn't get from him.
Yeah.
And he only spoke Spanish. He didn't really speak very good English.
So do you think being around that, kind of growing up with that, do you think that made you more of a magnet for these things to happen to you, or do you think they kind of put you on the path that you're supposed to be on to help people?
Oh, I don't know. It was really weird because I really wasn't interested in any of that. My aunts were really into it. They were witches. My grandmother on my mom's side was a witch, from what I think. My grandfather was like the healer basically. Did all the Catholic and Christian prayers. He was like, I guess you would call him. I basically consider myself that as well. Folk Catholic, folk Catholicism.
Yeah,
it's like Catholic, but with like with a twist of folk. I guess you would say folk magic.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's pretty much kind of, I guess, the best way to describe it. But yeah, the egg cleanse is very potent, along with a bunch of other cleanses like spiritual baths and stuff like that. Very good. It actually makes you feel better too. And it's not necessarily just the the spiritual stuff. Also, I mean, it is mostly that in my opinion, but like the herbs and stuff like that have an effect as well when you're using those. They have a beneficial effect. Getting some vitamins and some other things that, properties they have that, may or may not help. But it seems to do. Seemingly it helps a lot, actually.
So you've been working on a book that pertains to a lot of this stuff. Not necessarily the stories you've told us, but kind of what you do now with the cleansings and all that stuff.
Yes, I'm currently writing a book. It's called The Power of the Egg, and I'm just about finishing with it. I just got to get the pictures aligned with the descriptions of the chapters are done. I just got to get the descriptions of the pictures that lined up with the meanings of it. That way, if you're trying to do a reading, you have an example, and you say, okay, so it looks similar to this, and then you can decipher it that way. But yeah, that's pretty much it. There's also some baths and recipes in there, different descriptions of the different types of eggs, like ostrich eggs, duck eggs, dove eggs, all the different eggs and the different things that they do. Duck eggs is more for like money and prosperity type stuff. So if you have like a blockage in money, a duck egg would probably be used for that more so than a regular egg would work, but it would just take longer, and you have to heavily use other things that are associated with it. But they say lucky duck egg. So that's kind of some of the stuff like that. It's weird because some of the sayings that people say go with some of these symbolic meanings that they use in these spiritual works, is what they call it.
And so if people want to get reading from you or want to talk to you more about this, how can they get in touch with you?
Oh, they can reach me on Instagram at Holy Mountain Healer, or they can look me up on Facebook at Holy Mountain Healer on the Facebook page. I also have a group on Facebook called Shamanic Egg Cleanse. Yeah, and those are the primary ways you can get a hold of me. And eventually I'll have the release date of the book and pre-orders and all that when I'm finished the book up.
Yeah, when the book comes out, I'll be sure to share it and post it around. And I'll have links to all of your social media and stuff in the show notes for people to be able to go and easily access. And like I said, all the pictures we've been talking about, I will put them up in the Unseen Paranormal Lounge on the Unseen Paranormal podcast Facebook page and on Instagram and Twitter. And then you can look at them and go along with the episode. And then if you want to check out the YouTube episode, that I'll actually put the video up with it. I usually just do audio, but I'll throw a video together with the pictures on there as we talk about them, and people can see what we're talking about.
That sounds good.
Well, Jim, thank you so much for coming on today and telling us your story. I found it fascinating when we talked on the phone, and definitely want to get you on because I think my audience, it's a different type of story than I've heard in a long time, and it's good that you kind of came out good on the other side of it, because it could have turned out much, much worse.
Yep, I'm still working on it though. It's a work in progress.
All right, Jim, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Really appreciate it. I love the story, love hearing it, and thank you for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me, and thanks for letting me share it, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and my pleasure, man. All right, everybody, y'all stay safe out there. We'll see you next time. Have a good day. Thank you for listening to The Unseen Paranormal. Join me next Wednesday with a brand new guest, and please rate, review, share, and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you're listening right now. This helps more people discover the show. You can connect with me over on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or join us in the Unseen Paranormal Lounge group on Facebook. Until next time, remember, some of the scariest things are unseen. You have come